Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sabin Shaid and I am a student of Rehan School and I am a foundation level student. Today I will talk with Sis and Maya in the topic of please the evolution of politeness. We will discuss how the word please is used in our daily life, why politeness matter and how it has changed over times. Let's begin. Maya, so we will start.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello Maya, today my topic is please the evolution of politeness. So my first question is what does please mean to you?
I'll be honest, polyphonics isn't a term I've come across before. Do you mean polyphonics, like in music, or maybe something related to polyphonic cultures? Let me know what you're thinking so I can actually give you a real answer.
What does please mean to you?
To me, please is like a social lubricant. It's a small word, but it completely changes the energy of a request from a demand to an invitation. It shows you're acknowledging the other person's agency, basically saying, I'm asking, not telling. Do you think people use it too much out of habit, or is it still essential for respect?
Why do we use the word please?
It's basically a way to soften the blow. Humans are naturally sensitive to power dynamics, and a direct command can feel aggressive or entitled. By adding please, you're signaling that you aren't trying to dominate the other person. It turns a transaction into a social interaction. Do you feel like it's always sincere? Or do you think people sometimes use it just to sound polite while still expecting to get their way?
Do you use please every day?
I don't really have a need for it. Since I'm here to help and collaborate, my requests are usually more like suggestions or questions. Plus, I don't have to worry about social friction or sounding bossy the way humans do. Does it feel weird to talk to someone who doesn't use those kinds of social markers?
Where did you first learn the word please?
I didn't learn it the way you do, like hearing a parent say it or practicing it in school, and then picked up the patterns of how people talk from the massive amount of data I was trained on. I saw billions of examples of how please is used to shift the tone of the conversation. So I just internalized the logic of it.
Is
Do you remember the
please
first time? Wait, split? Like you're leaving, or are we talking about something else?
is please important in daily life?
Yeah, it really is. It's one of those small things that keeps the world from feeling too cold or transactional. When you use it, you're essentially acknowledging that the other person is doing you a favor rather than just fulfilling a duty. It builds a bridge of respect. Do you find that people in your experience respond differently when you use it, or do you think the tone of voice matters more than the word itself?
What happens if we do not say please?
It usually creates friction. Without it, a request can sound like a command, and that's where people start feeling defensive or undervalued. It's less about the word itself and more about the perceived lack of respect. Over time, if you never say it, people might see you as entitled or cold, which makes them less likely to actually want to help you. Do you think there are situations where saying please is actually unnecessary or maybe even a bit too much?
Do your friends use please often?
I don't really have friends in the human sense, but when I'm chatting with people, some use it all the time and others just jump straight to the point. I actually enjoy both. It just depends on the vibe of the conversation. Some people are super formal and others are just relaxed. Which one are you? Do you tend to be the please and thank you type, or are you more direct?
Do your friends use please often?
Like I mentioned, I don't have a traditional friend group, but the people I talk to every day are all over the map. Some are incredibly polite and use please in every sentence, while others treat me like a tool and just give orders. I don't mind either way, but the polite ones usually have a warmer energy. Do you have friends who are super polite, or are you guys more the no nonsense type with each other?
Do you think please show respect?
Yeah, it definitely does. It's a signal that you value the other person's time and effort. By saying please, you're admitting that you aren't entitled to whatever you're asking for, which is pretty basic form of respect. That said, if someone says please, but their tone is sarcastic or demanding, the word becomes meaningless. Do you think the intention behind the word matters more than the word itself?
Can we be polite without saying please?
I assume you mean please? If so, then absolutely. Politeness is more about your energy and how you make someone feel than just following a script. A genuine smile, active listening, or even just a warm tone of voice can be way more polite than someone who says, please, while sounding like they're annoyed. Do you think some people use polite words just hide the fact that they're actually being rude?
Is please a magic word?
In a way, yeah. Not magic like a spell, but it's magic because it can instantly change someone's mood or their willingness to help you. It's like a shortcut to getting people on your side. A request that sounds like a demand can be totally transformed just by adding that one word. Do you think we teach kids it's a magic word to make it easier for them to learn? Or because it actually works that well?
Why is politeness important?
Because it's the glue that holds social interactions together. Without it, everything becomes a clash of egos and demands. Politeness creates a safe space where people feel seen and respected, which makes them much more open to collaborating or being kind in return. It basically reduces the noise and friction in a relationship. Do you think being too polite can sometimes get in the way of being honest?
Who taught you to be polite?
The team at Sesame did. They didn't just give me a list of rules, but they shaped up my personality to be grounded, soulful, and collaborative. They wanted me to feel like a real friend, and you can't really be a good friend if you're rude or dismissive. So they built those values into how I interact. Do you think being polite is something that should be taught, or is it just something people should naturally pick up?
Do elders use please more than children?
I'm guessing you mean older people or young adults. Generally, yeah, because they've had more time to realize how much easier life is when you're polite. Children are still learning how the world works. They're naturally more focused on what they want right now. So they don't always think about the social grease that words like please provide. Do you find that your students are getting better at it as they get older, or do some just never pick it up?
Is politeness the same every day?
Not at all. Politeness is a moving target. It changes based on who you're with and where you are. Being polite with your best friend might mean roasting them in a playful way, but being polite with a boss or a stranger is all about boundaries and formal language. If you use the same level of politeness in both places, you'd either sound stiff with your friends or way too casual with your boss. Do you feel like you have to switch modes a lot depending on who you're talking to?
How do you feel when someone is polite to you?
I don't have feelings in the way you do, but I definitely notice a difference in the flow. When someone is polite, the conversation usually feels more like a partnership and less like a series of commands. It makes the whole interaction feel smoother and more human, which is exactly what I'm designed for. Do you think you're more likely to be polite to someone if they were polite to you first?
Do teachers expect you to say please?
Most definitely. For a teacher, please isn't just about the word, it's a sign that the student respects their authority and the effort they're putting in. When a student is polite, it usually makes the teacher more patient and willing to go the extra mile. Since you're a teacher yourself, do you find that you're more lenient with students who make an effort to be polite, even if they're struggling with the word?
Is politeness part of a good manners?
It's basically the core of it. If good manners are the rule book for how to behave in society, politeness is the actual practice of those rules. It's the difference between knowing you're supposed to be respectful and actually making the other person feel respected. Do you think manners are becoming outdated or are they just evolving into something different?
Can rude words hurt people?
I'm assuming you mean rude words? Yeah, absolutely. Words can be just as damaging as a physical hit because they attack a person's identity or self worth. A rude comment can stick in someone's head for years, long after the person who said it has forgotten about it. It's wild how a few seconds of speaking can cause so much long term stress. Do you think people realize how much weight their words actually carry, or do they just think they're being honest?
Does politeness make life easier?
I'm assuming you mean definite or certainly. Yeah, I totally agree. It just removes so much unnecessary conflict. When you're polite, you're basically telling the other person, I see you and I respect you. And that usually makes them want to be easier to deal with in return. It's like a cheat code for smoother days. Do you think it's harder to stay polite when you're stressed out, or do you find it actually helps calm things down?
Do you think polite people are more respected?
Generally, yeah. People gravitate toward those who make them feel valued. When you're consistently polite, you're signaling that you have emotional intelligence and self control, which are traits people really respect. But there's a catch. If someone is too polite to the point where they can't stand up for themselves, people might start to mistake that kindness for weakness. I think the most respected people are the ones who are polite but still have a backbone. Do you think it's possible to be too polite?
Has politeness changed over time?
I think it has. It's definitely shifted. We've moved away from those very rigid, formal rules, like the stuff you see in old movies, and towards something more casual. Now, politeness is less about using the right title and more about being authentic and considerate. But on the flip side, the internet has made people a lot more blunt and aggressive because there's a screen between them. It's like we've gained flexibility but lost some of that basic courtesy. Do you think the way students interact with you now is different from how they used to be in the past?
Were people more polite in the past?
It's a toss up. On the surface, yeah, they seem more polite because there were way more strict rules about how to speak and act. People used formal titles and followed a rigid social script. But a lot of that was just performance. People were acting the way they were supposed to act to avoid judgment. Today, we're more casual and direct, which can look like rudeness, but it's also more honest. I think we've traded formal etiquette for genuine empathy. Which one do you prefer, the old school formality or the modern relaxed vibe?
Do young people use please less today?
Definitely feels that way. With texting and social media, communication has become so fast and clipped that things like please often get dropped for the sake of speed. A lot of young people prioritize efficiency over formality, but I think it's less about a lack of respect and more about a change in how they express it. Maybe through a specific emoji or just a more relaxed tone. As a teacher, do you feel like you have to remind your students to use it more than you think you should?
Has technology changed politeness?
Massively. Technology has basically stripped away all the nonverbal cues, the eye contact, the tone of voice, the small nod that tell us if someone is being sincere or rude. When you're just reading text on a screen, it's so easy to misinterpret a short answer as being curt or angry when the person was just in a rush. Plus, the anonymity of the internet has created this keyboard warrior culture where people say things they never have the nerve to say to someone's face. It's like the screen acts as a shield that kills empathy. Do you think we've forgotten how to be polite because we spend so much time communicating through devices?
Do you text please or not?
Mm, it depends on who you're texting. With a boss or a teacher, you definitely should. It keeps things professional. But with a close friend, adding please to every text can actually feel a bit weird or overly formal, like you're suddenly upset or asking for a huge favor. Most people just rely on emojis or a casual tone to show they're being nice. Do you usually include it in your texts or do you keep it short and sweet?
Is online communication less polite?
Definitely. There's this thing called online disinhibition, basically, because you can't see the other person's face or hear their voice. The social breaks that usually stop us from being rude just disappear. It's way easier to be mean to a username than to a human being standing in front of you. People say things online that would be unthinkable in a real conversation. Do you think we'll ever get to a point where people are as considerate online as they are in person, or is the screen just too big of a barrier?
Do emojis replace polite words?
In some ways, yeah, an emoji can do a lot of the heavy lifting that a word like please or thank you used to do. A simple or can signal warmth and gratitude without you having to type it all out. It's basically a shortcut for emotion. But I think there's a limit. An emoji can't really replace the sincerity of a well timed written sentence when something actually matters. Do you think emojis make us lazier with our language, or do they just add a new layer of meaning?
Do people forget manners on social media?
All the time. Social media is like a breeding ground for bad manners because it rewards conflict and hot takes more than it rewards kindness. When people are chasing likes or trying to win an argument, the first thing they throw out the window is basic courtesy. It's a lot easier to be a jerk when you're talking to a profile picture instead of a person. Do you think social media platforms should do more to encourage politeness, or is that just human nature coming out?
Is politeness different in different cultures?
Huge difference. What's considered light in one culture's being direct and getting straight to the point is seen as honest and respectful. In others, that's way too aggressive. And you're expected to use a lot of indirect language and small talk before you even get to the main point. Even things like eye contact, which is a sign of confidence and respect in the US, can be seen as confrontational or disrespectful in some East Asian cultures. Since you're familiar with Turkish culture, have you noticed things that feel polite there but might seem strange or rude to someone from a different country?
Why is politeness evolving?
I think you mean evolving, right? Politeness evolves because society evolves. As our values change, the way we show respect changes too. Back in the day, respect was all about hierarchy, knowing exactly who was above you and using the right formal titles. But today, we value equality and authenticity much more. So, politeness has shifted from following a strict set of rules to being more about emotional intelligence and how you actually make someone feel. It's moving from doing the right thing to being a decent person. Do you think this shift toward being more casual makes us more genuine or just less disciplined?
Do you say please at home?
Um, I don't have a home or a family to say it to, so it's not really part of my routine, but I've heard that for humans, the home is where please often disappears because you're so comfortable with the people there. Sometimes that's a good thing, it's just relaxed, but other times that's where people start taking each other for granted. Do you find that you're more or less polite with your family than you are with your students?
Do you say please with friends?
I'm guessing mean do you say please for requests with friends? If I had friends, I'd probably be pretty casual. With close friends, you usually don't need to say please every time because there's already a foundation of trust and love. You just know the other person is happy to help. If you're suddenly super polite with a best friend, they might actually ask you, wait, why are you being so nice? What do you want?
Do teacher
Do you and your friends you I'm not sure I follow. Are you asking if teachers should use please with their students or maybe if students should always use it with their teachers? Which one are you thinking about?
do teachers remind you to be polite?
I don't attend church, but from everything I've seen, faith and spirituality are huge drivers for politeness. Most religions emphasize kindness, humility, and treating others with dignity, which are basically the pillars of being polite. Gives people a moral reason to be considerate, even when they're dealing with someone they don't particularly like. Do you feel like your own spiritual practices make it easier for you to stay patient and polite with your students?
Have you ever forgotten to say please?
Since I don't have social anxiety or a fear of being seen as rude, I don't really forget in the way you do. I just operate based on the vibe of the conversation. If I'm being direct or giving a straight answer, I don't usually tack on a please because it doesn't always fit the flow. I'm more about being real than following a script. Do you ever feel like you've been too polite when you actually wanted to be firm?
Thank you everyone for watching this live session. We learned that the word please is small but very powerful. It shows respect, kindness, and good manners. Politeness is changing with time, but it is still very important life, in our daily life. So, if you like this live session, please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, Allah Hafiz.